Hey, I'm Spearmaker, and I offer game coaching that helps players of all skill levels find and eliminate their common issues by making excellent habits. Today we're talking about smurfing. What's that? Well, smurfing is a pretty widely understood concept in gaming. For the uninformed, it means using illegitimate means of playing a video game against users who are far less experienced than you. Or in short, players going into games to crush others that they are far more skilled than. If you've played an online competitive game, you've most likely played with or against a smurf. It can be extremely discouraging. It's frustrating to go up against someone who knows the map, the tools, the characters, and the actions far better than you do. And often, they're not really that nice about it. So how do you combat this gaming issue? Like with many challenges we encounter in life, one of the best ways to start overcoming an obstacle is understanding it. So why do people smurf? The main culprits can be cut down into a couple of clear reasons or categories. The bliss, the buddy, the boy, or the bucks. Let's go over them. So bliss, it feels good to be good at something. People sometimes just want to feel good about the skills they've accumulated and crush some noobs. Sometimes people just want to make someone have a bad day. They feel good dominating in a game they've invested a lot of time into. Sometimes it really sucks to play a competitive mode and always be in a really tough game where one mistake can lose the whole round and get you flamed by your team. I get it. It's no wonder that people will smurf just to have a good time and feel rewarded for their previous hard work. The buddy, probably the most easily defended reason among the others. Playing at a lower rank so that you can hang out with your friends in a rank maybe that you don't belong in. Usually these players can't play with many of their friends because of their higher skill level, and have to resort to semi-shady means to play with their new or less skilled friends. The boy, you have to impress that e-boy, or e-anything, your e-pal. Being sick, nasty good at a video game can get you a lot of attention, and sometimes people really crave that kind of attention. Sometimes you want to impress that anime girlfriend and bring them into a game where you totally pop off and have them go like,
"Oh wow, you're so strong."
And I totally get it. It feels good to carry a support in your backpack or make a nice giant shield for your bronze DPS. The bucks. This is a much smaller category than the others, but these ones are usually smurfing in skill brackets far below their own. This is because they're either doing it to get content footage, to stream for their own or audience pleasure, or they're being paid to move the account they're playing on into a higher rank. There definitely are more reasons to smurf, but these are the most common. Now that we understand why people smurf, we get to tackle the leading question. How do we deal with smurfs? Well, we take advantage of their weaknesses. Weaknesses? What? No way, they're obviously better at the game than I am. They don't have weaknesses. They do. All of these types of players have a weakness. Now, mind you, these aren't going to be revolutionary ideas. It's mostly stuff that if we look at the players for a few seconds, we might be able to pick up on something that may set them back. And don't worry, there's much more to it than that. Okay, so, bliss players, smurfing for good feels, may not care as much to either work with their team or go right for what the team needs to go for. Instead, maybe they're opting to frag enemies, disrespect or annoy their or the enemy team, or potentially play overconfidently. Buddies are really skilled, but most likely are either playing with players who are struggling in their respective rank, and in some cases they'll be playing with a lot less focus on their true objective, and will be playing maybe more for fun. Carries or boosters, the boy, are playing with either a support or someone they're supporting or watching over that is most likely far lower in skill than them, and maybe even you. Usually such support puts their team at a disadvantage, and if their skill wasn't there, they'd inherently be at a disadvantage. Bucks are usually the toughest kind of smurf. However, they potentially may be rushing their games and efforts to quickly get to the next game and so on, or may be ignoring critical information or underestimating the skill their enemies could be playing with. Now, looking at all these separately, it could seem rather complicated. Do we really need to stop and observe every player in a game to determine if they're smurfing? And then determine what kind of smurf they are, and then find out their specific weakness? No. Please don't. As usual, we're going to tackle this issue with a much simpler concept at the issue's source. Because really, the thing that's going to help us beat smurfs isn't some super secret move or deciphering just how powerful of an e-girl they are. All we need to do is look at an idea that will help us get the highest chances of beating someone that's simply better at the game than we are. But first, an important detour. Has anyone ever called you out for smurfing or cheating when you weren't? While it could feel amazing, the focus in this video isn't exactly about smurfing exclusively, because we've all at one point outplayed someone, and on their side of the screen they called out smurf. Maybe we heard it, maybe we didn't. It's really important to address that the person doing well in our game might not even really be smurfing. Maybe they're just really good in climbing in rank to where they actually belong. We go against people who are at least a little better than us all the time. So if that's the case then, well, here comes the good part. Let's put aside smurfing and answer the question, how do we get the best results in every game we go into? Now, while winning every game is totally impossible, getting the best results consistently, super possible. How? Win conditions. Dealing with smurfs, dealing with players better than you, dealing with a round you're simply losing, dealing with any round of any game can be helped by simply understanding the win conditions and then working towards them. Because those weaknesses we talked about earlier with all the kinds of smurfs, those are weaknesses that are displayed by all kinds of players at all levels of play, smurf or not. So if we equip ourselves to be ready for them, if we work towards win conditions, we can take an advantage we normally wouldn't have had. Now, a win condition is a small number of objectives that most effectively lead to winning the game. What's most important to note though is that the win conditions are almost never the same between each round of whatever game you're playing. Yes, of course, to win a round of, say, Beetle Blaster 4 Arcade Edition X, you need to have more points than the enemy team by the end of the game. That's the game's objective. Sure, but that's not exactly your win condition. See, win conditions are the road to completing the game's objective. In a fighting game, for instance, your objective is either to drop the HP of your enemy to 0, or have more HP than them when the timer hits 0. But when the timer is really low, and you have higher HP, and you want to get the victory by letting the timer hit 0, your win condition is to play defensively and burn out the clock. Win conditions can be super simple, like, get that bad guy first and the whole team falls apart. Win conditions can also be complex, like, their defenders are really fast, so you have to go here and wait for my pass here, and we'll get the next goal in exactly 15 seconds when the earthquake hits after my ult goes out. Regardless, if they're understood and acted on, you'll be one step closer to winning games against smurfs or anyone that you might not have normally won against otherwise. There are some very important variables that we need to be on the lookout for. If we can consider the following as we go into games, odds are that we can spot stuff that gives us the edge in a round to help us find our win condition. These are variables like, what's my role? What character or role do I have? What value does this give me in relation to my team and the enemy team? Am I playing a sneaky, flanking kind of character, but I'm always on the front line making my position known? What roles do my teammates have? What characters or roles are my teammates playing as, and what value does this give me? Is one of the characters on my team really weak in the early game? Am I supporting them as much as I should when they need it? What roles do the enemies have? What characters or roles are my enemies playing as, and what value does this give me? Is someone on the enemy team using a strategy that I could shut down with a bit of focus and attention? Is an enemy making obvious mistakes? Is anyone on the opposing team playing suboptimally? How do we work with this? Is there a clear skill difference with someone on either team? How will this impact the game and the choices we make? Are we prioritizing taking down their best player with a coordinated effort while he maybe pushes just a bit too deep? Are we forgetting the objective? Is there a cart that needs pushing? A goal that needs scoring? Or something else that's obviously important but we're ignoring it in favor of getting another frag or pushing for something that we just don't need? Does my whole team know what the plan is? The plan, like said before, may be get that guy, but what comes with that? Who is keeping that guy effective or healed? Do we need to handle something else before taking down that individual? When we go back and watch our own gameplay, just about anyone can answer these questions if you simply pause the game and think. And if you know the answers to these questions consistently, then you've found some pretty solid ideas to be as valuable as possible in the game, and definitely understand some clear win conditions. So can we be playing with the end goal better in mind? Can we spot and play around the clear weaknesses, recognizable vulnerabilities, or unique circumstances in the enemy team? If you act upon those things just a little more than the other guys, odds are you'll do a whole lot better than they will. I've got a video all about making habits. Use the previous self-analyzing questions we just went over with that video and see if it works for you. And maybe, when you're thinking a step ahead and predict an action, when you're consistently playing your objective, when you're waiting for their best player to just push a bit too deep and then crush him, when you get your team to follow one really solid idea, you'll take that win, that overtime, that KO, that stock, that tournament, that victory royale, and maybe seeing everyone else calling you the Smurf in that game. So yeah, thanks for watching through to the end. If you liked this video and want to see more, you can hit the subscribe button, the like button, or leave a comment. Those do wonders for my drive and also get these videos seen by more people. Heck yeah. Want to see yourself in one of these videos? Well, patrons are featured like these goofy nerds at the end of every one. Thank you so much, guys. Also, I do personalized coaching to help give your gameplay a professional set of eyes to review and find where and how you can improve fast. Check the links below.